Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something truly fascinating. We're looking at a brilliant text by Choi Won-hyuk that actually reframes all of our modern anxieties about AI, but does it through the lens of ancient Eastern philosophy. Specifically, we're going to break down how the core concepts of correlative thinking and Huazheng aren't just abstract ideas, but highly practical human survival strategies for the AI era. We'll see exactly how to implement these ideas to overcome the limitations of technology and ultimately reclaim our humanity in an algorithmic world.
So let me hit you with a question that honestly might sound completely backwards when we're talking about cutting-edge technology. Can ancient philosophy save us from artificial intelligence? Well, the author of our source material makes a really compelling case that the answer is a resounding yes. In fact, it might be the only thing that can.
Okay, here's our game plan for today. We'll be looking at the new tech alienation, empathy as a survival strategy, the ethics of clear boundaries, Huazheng, and inclusive tech communities, the new AI etiquette, and finally, the final human defense.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the new tech alienation, and the crisis of the digital divide.
The author nails down our current tech anxiety as a modern version of Han. Now, if you're not familiar with it, Han is this deeply rooted, uniquely Korean emotional state. It's not just your average sadness or anger, right? It's a profound, collective feeling of unresolved alienation, injustice, and longing. As technology accelerates at breakneck speed, so many people are feeling this deep, unresolved frustration. They simply can't keep up with the digital transition, and it leaves them with a really powerful sense of deprivation.
So, who exactly is bearing the brunt of this new Han? Well, look around. The text points out that the benefits of AI are heavily concentrated in the hands of a few. We've got rural elders who are literally locked out of basic services because everything is an app or digital kiosk now, and we have young people trapped working as regular platform laborers. It's a harsh reminder that AI advancement is fundamentally a human and social issue, not just a technical one. This widening digital and emotional divide, that is the modern embodiment of Han.
Which brings us right to Section 2, empathy as a survival strategy, or the power of Gongam.
Now, you might be thinking of empathy as just a soft skill, a nice emotional reaction when your friend is having a bad day. But historically, according to our source, the Eastern concept of empathy was actually a world changer. European Enlightenment thinkers, guys like Leibniz and Voltaire, actively borrowed the Confucian concept of empathy, this radical idea of regarding others as your own body. They used this to help topple the divine right of kings and establish modern universal human rights. They built on the idea that all humans are equal, rational beings capable of empathizing with one another. Empathy isn't just a feeling, it's a civilizational blueprint. But here's the crucial point. While an AI can totally mimic emotional expression by outputting the right data, only a human can actually experience genuine empathy. AI has no qualia. It doesn't have the raw, actual feeling of an emotion. Because of this, the author argues we absolutely have to build an empathy economy that is rooted in the physical awareness of I here now. Think about it. As AI takes over all the heavy analytical tasks, human labor is naturally going to shift toward care, connection, and community building. Our survival strategy is literally pivoting from being isolated, rational actors to deeply relational human beings.
Let's move into Section 3, the ethics of clear boundaries, exploring the Confucian logos. This whole concept is anchored by a super simple but incredibly powerful principle. X is X, and negative X is negative X. While some other philosophies might try to blur the lines, saying an enemy is a friend or that neither really exists, this principle demands that we clearly define boundaries. It's the ethics of distinction. A teacher is a teacher, a student is a student, a human is a human, and a machine is a machine. Instead of pretending everything is exactly the same, this philosophy argues that calling each being by its proper name and its proper role is the absolute starting point of order and respect.
And when you take those clear, hard boundaries and mix them with Ren, which is the core of humaneness, you get the ultimate standard for AI ethics. Ren is that little voice in your heart that asks, hey, how would I feel if I were in their shoes? So the resulting ethic looks like this. We acknowledge differences, like the difference between men and women, or between humans and algorithms, but we ensure those differences never, ever become unjust discrimination in an AI system's output.
I absolutely love this comparison from the source text because it perfectly highlights the contrast for our future. On the Western side, represented by Hegel, we might view our friction with AI as a driver for progress, a dialectical contradiction that forces a new synthesis. But Eastern thought, represented by Confucius, steps in and insists that our irreplaceable human warmth, our heart of compassion, has to be the guiding force.
It reminds us that the leadership we need for the AI era isn't about command and control. It's about an empathic power that a machine literally cannot replicate. All right, on to Section 4. Huajiang and inclusive tech communities. Let's turn this philosophy into practice.
So how do we actually do this? The author outlines Huajiang, which is the practice of harmonization, through 3 highly actionable steps. Remember that deep tech alienation, that Han we talked about at the very beginning? Well, Huajiang is the institutional effort to unravel it, a process called Han Puli. By expanding digital education, bringing the youth and our elders together to share technology, and empowering local communities to govern their own AI tools, we can completely transform alienated victims into active participants. This is correlative thinking in action, creating a symbiotic economy where nobody gets left behind.
Moving right along to Section 5, the new AI etiquette, focusing on Byomjel and social capital.
Okay, so Byomjel. This refers to those everyday manners that just make life pleasant and keep society running smoothly. The author argues that in the AI era, we urgently need to define a new Byomjel. We have to figure out, as a society, is it polite to keep your Zoom camera off? Is it okay to pass off AI-generated work as your own? The absolute core of this new etiquette is transparency. It means never passing on AI information without verifying it first, and never using AI to manipulate someone else. It's all about clearly defining the boundaries and responsibilities between the user and the machine.
And when we practice these small, transparent acts of Byomjel, we're building up what the author calls empathy capital. Think of it like a massive, invisible social bank account. It's filled with the memories of being helped when you were down, the feeling of being truly understood, and the shared history of surviving a crisis together. When deepfakes, algorithmic bias, and fake news threaten to completely destroy our social trust, empathy capital is our true resilience. Sure, AI makes us incredibly efficient, but only human empathy capital can heal the social fractures that all this new technology leaves behind.
And that brings us to our final section, number 6, the final human defense, looking at Yoktae and embodiment.
Yukta is this really profound developmental stage in Eastern philosophy. Literally translated, it means to bathe and gird yourself with a sash. It represents that pivotal moment when a human puts on the ethical sash of society. It's stepping up to take on the heavy responsibility of judging what is right and what is wrong, and understanding what choices might lead humanity to ruin. It's the formation of an ethical identity that doesn't just passively float through life, but actively discerns good from evil in the real world.
And this stark contrast right here, this is everything. An AI can scrape 1 million data points to spit out a perfectly sad sentence that mimics a human crying. But it doesn't have a physical body. It hasn't experienced yangzhang, the physical, messy reality of birth and suffering. Because of that, an AI can never actually suffer, bathe, and bone deeply embody the ethical discernment of good and evil that Yoktae demands. The human capacity to discern good and evil through true empathy is, without a doubt, the final and most powerful weapon we have to control soulless algorithms.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this incredibly provocative thought from the author's exploration of Huajiang. Establishing your identity in the AI era isn't just about picking one version of yourself. It's about finding that core value that absolutely does not waver, no matter how crazy the situation gets. Since an algorithm can never truly bear the weight of an ethical choice or embody real empathy, what human values will you rely on to anchor yourself? Thank you so much for exploring these incredible strategies with me today.